Yoo-hoo, running crew, welcome to Dancing is Forbidden. I am Ronnie, lifelong fan of and one-time voice on Aqua Teen Hunger Force. And on this podcast, we are watching through and talking about every Aqua Teen episode, one episode at a time. And the episode we are watching through and talking about this week is Season 6, Episode 5, Creature from Plaque Lagoon.
Go to sleep.
I'm sleep talking.
Well, you need to be sleep shutting up. Come on, I need that nest egg.
Okay, I'm going to sleep now. Copy that.
In this episode, teeth are going missing, and it may or may not have something to do with the Tooth Fairy. I should mention the name on this one is in reference to the classic 1954 film Creature from Plaque Lagoon, although from what I can tell, I haven't seen that movie, but from what I can tell, there doesn't seem to be a resemblance beyond the name here. But joining us on this episode, we've got Aqua Teen artist, character designer, animator, and art director on Season 12, Todd Redner. Now, you might remember Todd. We interviewed him earlier this year, and he's back, okay? And I'm here to tell you, this one's for the artists and the animators out there, the doodlers, the pencil heads, the keyframers. This is for you. We're getting into some nitty-gritty Aqua Teen visual details on this one. Todd comes with a lot of memories of working on this, some really great behind-the-scenes stuff for this episode specifically, but make no mistake, if you listen to the interview with Todd, which, by the way, you totally should, I mean, he's been on Aqua Teen since 2002, for God's sake, you'll know that any time with Todd is time well spent. Let's go see what he's got to say about Creature from Plaque Lagoon. Returning to the podcast by popular demand, Todd. You were here earlier this year. You're back again. It's the one, the only, Mr. Todd Redner. Todd, where are you calling in from today?
I am calling in from your mom's house.
Oh, awesome. Is she there?
She says hello.
Hi,
yeah,
Mom.
She didn't want to be on camera.
She's like, Ronnie's podcast? Nah, I'm not. I don't got time for that.
No, I'm actually way down here and just a little north of Atlanta, Georgia, and still sitting here where we dream of making more Aqua Teens.
Aw, the ghost of Aqua Teen's past haunts those grounds, as does Todd Redner.
Yeah, whenever I run into anybody, it's like, oh man, I'd really love to do Aqua Teen again. I hear that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, everybody I've spoken to has loved working on the show, so that absolutely makes sense. It checks out that people would be asking for that.
Yeah, it really was. Out of all the shows and projects I've worked on, it was always one of my favorites because you could just be so creative. So it's the special place for me is to work on that.
Well, here we are in Season 6. We are talking about Season 6, Episode 5's The Creature from Plaque Lagoon. And during this time, is it fair to say, Todd, that you were the principal character designer for Aqua Teen?
During this time, yes, I think so. It came and went with different seasons and with different episodes, I should say. I would do one episode, and Jenkins would do an episode, and Clay Croker would do an episode. So yeah, I think this is one of the ones that I did a lot of work on. So yeah.
Yeah, and the reason I wanted to bring you on this one is we have 3 new character designs in this episode. So I'm interested to hear what you can remember about any of them. But this episode making its Adult Swim television debut on April 26th, 2009.
Wow.
On Creature from Plaque Lagoon, we have a bit of a credits controversy here, Todd, and you and I are going to be breaking some real news on this podcast episode today. I was texting with Dave Willis and Matt Malero before we got on here to clear some things up.
Uh-oh.
But before that, I want to say voices on this one. We have Dana Snyder as Master Shake, Dave Willis as Meatwad. There's no Carl in this episode. We have Carrie Means as Frylock, and then after that, we have credited on the episode, we have John Schnepp, Tommy Batflatch, who is really Tommy Blacha from Metalocalypse, and Creature from Plaque Lagoon as himself. This is really Brendan Smalls. So I'll get into who each of these guys are later in the episode, but last but not least, I want to shout out our editor on this one, edited by Ned Hastings. And Todd, we would be remiss to not mention that this is like the second Wongburger episode. Spoilers ahead, of course.
Yeah.
J. Wade Edwards edited on the first one, the Dickisode. Here we are with Ned Hastings on the second one. But Todd, you designed Wongburger in penis form. I assume that you also designed him here in his tooth form.
Yeah, I did. And
You did.
I did. And the tooth form was very different because, we had already established what a wonky looking character this guy is.
Yeah.
So, like, okay, we want a penis as a tooth. And I'm like, okay, how am I going to do that? Like, how am I going to do that? So I don't even remember doing a lot of versions of this because there really wasn't a whole lot I could do, when you get that tooth shape. So I think I'm like, okay, I just enlarged a section of the tooth where the head might be, and then I put Wongburger's face on it, which we already had all the animation from our library of the facial expressions and mouths. So you just pop those on there. The arms too, I think we still had the same arms. So all we needed was a new base body and then any new movements of the arms. So then you break it down to, okay, I need a new base body, and you build the arms and put the face where it needs to be, that kind of stuff. Actually, I don't even, you know what? Since the face, and maybe not the arms, but since the face already had its animation timed out, it may have been the After Effects guys. It very well could have. That could have
Okay.
placed the face for me.
Mm-hmm.
So then they didn't have to redo everything. So that we did that quite a bit. So then they wouldn't have to retime out the mouth shapes and set it up. Now, that being said, I might have drawn them. I don't know. But any shortcut we could do, we did. I remember like taking his body and kind of like, because he's shirtless. So I'm like, just stretched it out. So I gave him nipples and I gave him one of those really wide bodies.
Uh-huh.
Like Andre the Giant. If you ever see Andre the Giant,
Yes.
he's got this huge wide body. And so I think I took the Wongburger and I stretched it out to make it just thicker body. And he still got the spandex on too.
Yeah, I mean, I never anticipated this Andre the Giant to Aqua Teen Hunger Force inspiration, but I totally see it when you mention it. I'm like, I totally get what you mean by this.
Yeah, it's like, okay, whenever I'm doing these designs and doing characters or whatever, I'm like, think about like, okay, how would this look? And look at the reference, and it's like, okay, but yeah, a big, wide Andre the Giant body
Yes.
with the spandex. I don't know why he's got a. Oh yeah, he's got a coat on because he has the chattering. He opens his coat. He's got chattering.
Chatterman.
Those took forever to do. All those little teeth. Once we got that designed and drawn, then it's basically just a couple of drawings. But for a couple of drawings, I just remember going, "Oh my goodness," and all that was done on paper. That whole episode, we did all those designs on paper,
Okay.
and we probably did some modification in Photoshop, but the designs and any new animation was done on paper for those. And Wongburger, have I talked about Wongburger on the podcast before?
I know we got into him a bit in the interview, but I mean, anything you want to say about him here is a great place to mention it. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I told everybody last time how much my mom hated it, the first Wongburger.
Oh, I don't remember that.
So way back when, I did a blog when blog was a thing, and I posted pictures of some of the sketches for approvals that I sent for Dr. Wongburger. And it was like some characters had a big arm. Some people, had like one big arm, like he really loved himself a lot. And then another one was this. So when I drew Wongburger, I did a guy with a bowl cut haircut and a turtleneck on, and I made him stand really erect.
Yeah.
And Matt or Dave was the one that was like, dude, if you're going to do that, just go all the way. So that's where Wongburger came from. So I had all these drawings and I put them on on a blog, and I titled it Aqua Teen's Rejected Dicks.
Rejected dicks of Aqua Teen, yes.
Rejected Dicks. And somehow my mother saw it
Oh,
and
no.
called me. Yes. And it had been up.
Todd, take this down.
It had been up for weeks, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, Todd, I just saw what you posted. You need to take that down immediately."
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, why? What's wrong? You're just putting penises up, and oh my goodness, you need to, you got to be respectable.
My church friends are going to see this.
Yeah. And she was very much like that. And I fought her on it, but then I'm like, okay, you know what? I had my fun with it. I took it down.
Ah, what a good son.
I did. I took it down. Now with Instagrams and all that stuff, maybe it's time to put it back up again.
Bring the dicks back, Todd. Time to bring it. It's 2025. Bring the dicks back. We're ready for them. As a world, we weren't ready 15 years ago, but I think it's time to bust them out here. Well, you touch on a good point here between Wongburger as seen in Dickisode, which is very inappropriate, and of course that episode famously censored for television broadcast. But here in Creature from Plaque Lagoon, he's just a tooth, all right? There's not a whole lot of sensationalist things going on with that.
Yeah.
He is just a tooth. I do want to mention, here we are about 2 years after Movie Film for Theaters comes out, and we aren't seeing villains return as much as in the earlier seasons. But here we have Wongburger, who is showing up twice, so that is a little bit interesting to me as a fan of the show. That, they're not bringing back Moonanites, they're not bringing back, whoever, Plutonians, but they are bringing back Wongburger here.
You know what? I've never noticed that. I'm glad you pointed that out. I'm like, they a lot of the villains didn't come back, and maybe it was trying new things and trying new villains. I don't know.
Right.
But you're right. They kept me busy, though. It's like, hey, we need some new characters. I'm like,
new designs, all right.
Yeah, I get some work. All right, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea behind that was just that in Movie Film for Theaters, you guys brought back a lot of villains. Like, there's lots of cameos in that film from previous villains who were already usually in several episodes. So, yeah, it seemed like Matt and Dave just wanted to kind of start fresh with some new characters. Like, it's after the film that we get Markula, who shows up a bunch. It's after the film.
Yep.
A few other villains that pop up then we see a couple times. But
yeah,
in this episode here, we open in on Shake and Meatwad in the living room, and we see that Shake is trying to loosen Meatwad's tooth, his lone tooth, Todd. He's only got one tooth, okay? But they're trying to knock it out by hitting it out of his head with a golf club.
Ow! Is it loose?
No, not yet. Better do it again.
All right. Ow! How about now?
No, still good.
Ah!
Ow!
Ah! Tapped it.
You just hit me in the cheek.
Hold on a minute. I gotta change clubs.
This is fun.
So it's just Shake beating the shit out of Meatwad.
And it's funny that Meatwad just takes it and loves it. He's like, oh, yeah,
This is
let's
fun.
do it again. Yeah. And he still says ow. And
Yeah,
there's still
it's
pieces
painful,
of
but
meat on the TV.
Yes, yeah. He's smacking meat around. That's to more. There's lots of effects in this episode, which we'll kind of get into a little bit. But we see that here. Shake is playing golf, essentially. He's playing with a golf club, just like the boys did 2 years previous in the game Aqua Teen Hunger Force Zombie Ninja Pro-Am. Now, Todd, I know you didn't work on that. You had nothing to do with that game, as I don't think any of you animators or artists did, right? It was all separate.
No.
But, I mean, we had the Aqua Teens playing golf in that, and lots of your characters that you designed showed up in that game in 3D. Can you tell us about that experience of seeing some of your characters show up in that?
Yeah, I mean, I had no idea till I played the game, and then I'm playing the game, and it's like, oh, look at that alien! I designed that, and then to see it in 3D form when they were running around, and I'm like, that's pretty good. Okay,
Yeah.
I think it's the one that really that I remember the most was a stupid little wrench. Is the little wrench
Yeah.
from the
Dusty Gazangas.
episode. Yes, from Dusty Gazanda's the wrench. And I just remember seeing that wrench, the wrenches running around, and I'm like, oh yeah, they nailed that. That looks great.
Hmm.
That looks great. Now, do I have to
Yeah.
keep playing this game?
Can I just see all the characters in
Yeah.
3D and like hear the dialogue, but not have to play this shitty golf game?
But not have to, run down the fairway and fight off all these creatures and such while I'm just like, oh
Yeah,
my gosh, this is the longest stinking par four ever.
I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, and Tulip Sniper's blasting you with his Tommy gun the whole time. You're like, oh my
Yeah.
god, go
Yeah.
away.
The Tulip Sniper was always that was a very early on episode. Was that Hypnogerm?
Yes, Hypnogerm. Yep.
That was a very early on one, but I can't remember, but somebody had showed me that they got that as a tattoo.
Oh man.
And I was like, okay, that's a pretty cool tattoo. The Tulip Sniper, that's a pretty cool
Yeah.
tattoo.
Yeah, because people get flower tattoos all the time. Why not give it a Tommy gun? Why not?
Yeah, and I've seen Wongburger tattoos online, and I'm like, really, dude? Really? You're gonna put that? We're not talking the tooth version. We're talking Dickisode version. You're
Yes.
gonna put that on
That
your body for all time?
right. Yeah.
So, Ronnie, when are you gonna get that taken off your leg? That's what I really want to know.
I'm saving up, man. I have a GoFundMe right now to get this penis tattoo taken off of me. I thought my wife would think it's cool, but she doesn't even know who Wongburger is, so she did not appreciate it as much as you did, Todd, when I showed you when we were hanging out last week. I do want to mention I have I don't remember which DVD set it is. One of the DVD sets comes with stickers, and I know that there's a Wongburger sticker of the penis form that lots of people have told me stories about how they stuck it on a guitar or a PlayStation
Really?
or whatever back in the late 2000s. Yeah, so there are some Wongburger
don't
stickers
remember
out
that.
there. Yeah.
I don't remember that. I'm gonna have to dig through my old DVDs and see if there's any Wongburger stickers in there. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah. It's worth it.
I know, and I'm gonna frame it. I'm not gonna stick it on anything. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
frame it the way
Yeah,
it
don't
is.
waste it. It's precious cargo. Eventually, Shake hits Meatwad's eyeball out of his head, and Frylock
Yes.
comes into the room to see what's up. Turns out, Shake and Meatwad are more fiscally minded than I'd have thought.
What are y'all doing?
Well, we're getting rich. What the hell does it look like?
Yeah, we gonna knock out my last tooth and leave it under my pillow. So when the tooth fairy comes, we gonna nab her and demand all the money.
And then we will invest said money in a series of CDs and sensible international bonds in my name, possibly some currency exchanges. There's still a few things we're working out on it, but the basic plan is that.
Assuming an annual rate of return of, let's say, 8.5%, we should be able to retire at 60 with a very comfortable dozen eggs.
Little nest egg.
I'm so hungry.
Dozen
So the
eggs.
idea, yeah, dozen eggs. No, nest egg. The idea here is to kidnap the Tooth Fairy, steal her money, and then invest it so that they can retire. I have to imagine
Yes.
that Matt or Dave were either looking at their retirement before writing this one, or they one of their children had lost teeth. One of the two was going on.
exactly.
At this point.
I'll bet 100%, 100%, maybe both.
Probably
Maybe
both.
both. 100%, because it does sound like, okay, 2009, their kids are about the same age as my kids. So yeah, that tracks. That does track.
Yeah, I bet Dave had to be Tooth Fairy, and then Matt was looking at his retirement that day, and they just talked about both of those.
Exactly. It's like, oh, Tooth Fairy. Oh, I got to do this. Oh, I gotta say too, couple things. Number one, the unsung things that are in these shows that nobody talks about is that I designed the eyeball flying out.
Oh, okay.
It's like, hey, you like when you're making these shows, you need those little elements
Mhm.
that are not really props. I mean, they are props, but they might need to use them in animation and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I designed Meatwad's tooth out of his face, and I designed Meatwad's eyeball, what that might look like with a little bit of stuff attached to it.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it's like doing those kind of things is the unsung hero type things that nobody talks about because it's so minor, and it's like, sure, all you got to do is draw this and send it, and you don't really even have to get those things approved. But somebody's got to do them, and it still takes time.
It's all that work for one visual gag, really. And for as the
Yep.
viewer, it's easy just to see that, laugh at it, and then mentally move on. But it's like that took you a lot of time.
But then somebody had to sit there and not only draw it, but plan it out, make sure that the eyeball is going to fit where it should fit,
Hmm.
and make sure that the colors are right. You got to, then you had to scan it. We had to scan it, clean it, and do some Photoshop work to just the eyeball. So just that one little eyeball may have taken a couple hours, up to a couple hours.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and it does. It's like, so it adds up. It adds up in time as you are making these shows. You might get a list of what everything you need to do, and then next thing you know, it's like, oh, I need to do this little thing and this little thing. Oh, I need to do some loose teeth. Oh, I need to do this little thing, and those little things they add up.
Right. And I'm noticing a lot more of that this season as compared to all of the previous seasons. I mean, let's go 6, 7 years ago, back to like 2002. It's like you guys weren't really doing visual gags like that as much, where an eyeball would fly
Right.
out in that semi-realistic way.
Right. Yeah.
They really had to lean on just the dialogue, while here we can get more of these visual gags because the budget's higher, and you guys just have better technology and understand
Yeah.
the show better and can work more quickly.
It definitely changed, from my perspective too, is as the show grew and the library grew. So then, okay, we've got a larger library of moves and such for the characters. So then, characters, we could do a little more drawing with them. We could do more. And as we did more, they asked for more. And it was it was a little bit before, what is this, season 6?
Yes, season 6.
It was during this time that we started doing, because I was at Radical Access, and we started doing overall deals. So basically, they didn't have to piece out so much with, like Matt Jenkins and the other guys. They didn't piece it out. I think around here is when Matt Jenkins may have left town.
Yeah, he was gone at this point.
Yeah. So then we had an overall deal at Radical. We were just doing all the visuals. So
Hmm.
when it's all takes place in one area, it makes it a lot easier to manage all those different things. So it's like, okay, Todd's just handling all visuals. We don't have to parse this out anymore. We can just say, hey, we want this, 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 and this. And it's a little easier to go grocery shopping in one store rather than three.
Exactly. Yeah. I want to mention to the listener here that, Todd, I was recently on your TikTok live, and I'll put a link to your TikTok in the description of this podcast episode, where we were kind of talking about this, where in the earlier days of Aqua Teen, they would kind of auction off
Yeah.
things that they needed to you guys to the lowest bidder. So it'd be like Matt Jenkins, Clay Croker, and you guys at Radical Access kind of bidding
Yeah.
on parts, while now you're describing at this point, it's really all just done in Radical Access, and they're able to get kind of more bang for their buck in a sense, because you guys can work together consistently on this thing.
Exactly. It was, we would they would send us basically a shopping list of animation, which was
Hmm.
character designs, any new moves or any effects or whatever that is needed for that episode. And I would go through and say, okay, this is going to take me 8 hours. This is going to take me 10 hours, and try to do a shopping list of how many hours.
Hmm.
Then we would convert that, but we would do that per episode. So each episode then would be like, okay, we're going to award this one to Todd. Okay, we're going to award this to Jenkins. Oh, we're going to send this one to Clay Croker. And so very early on, it was very, I didn't, the first few seasons, I didn't work on every episode. I'd work on one. And they tried to be as fair as they could with it too. It's like, well, we haven't given one to so and so for a while. Let's send him one, that kind of stuff. So, but it was tough then it's like, okay, this is my list. So then if they asked for anything more than that as the show went on, then it kind of started getting fuzzy. So then by the time we got to this episode, it was just a shopping list, and we just did it all.
Exactly, a one-stop shop for all Aqua Teen animation and all needs. But jumping back into our episode here, Shake, he takes one more swing at Meatwad, and he successfully knocks out his tooth. And then he kind of keeps beating Meatwad more for good measure. He keeps hitting pieces of Meatwad out of him, back to that bigger sense of animation and effects that you were talking about, where we get, Meatwad chipped away with this golf club in a more realistic way than we certainly would have gotten just a few years ago. So we cut to Meatwad's room at night now, and any Meatwad heads like myself may have noticed that this is our first time in Meatwad's room this season. 5 episodes in, we're finally hanging out in Meatwad's room. Shake is in Meatwad's closet, and he has a walkie-talkie on his head. He's walkie-talkieing over to Meatwad, who's like 3 feet away, laying down. Meatwad's got a cute pink bear-adorned hat on. He's got a blue blankie, a pillow, and a teddy bear. And of course, his tooth is right next to his pillow. Todd, did your parents do the tooth fairy for you when you were a kid?
Yes.
Can you relate to Meatwad here?
I can. They did do the tooth fairy, and we were very excited and such as a kid. And then when I had kids, we did the tooth fairy for our kids. And then when they started getting a little suspicious,
Like 17 or 18?
yeah, my wife even like took a tiny little piece of paper and wrote, because they left a note for the tooth fairy with the tooth. So she wrote as tiny as she possibly could on a little piece of paper that may have been an inch tall. And it was so, and apparently the kids were like, okay, that's mom.
I know mom's tiny handwriting.
So then this is going to make me sound absolutely horrible. But whatever. It was my responsibility to go and do the tooth and to leave the money. And I fell asleep. And I did not do the tooth. And this is by the time they were putting things together. So
Yeah.
I didn't do the tooth, and I fell asleep. And that's when I was pretty worn out a lot making, these shows. And so then the next morning the kids were like, "Oh, the tooth fairy didn't come." And I was like, "Oh my gosh.
Fuck.
I totally screwed it up."
Your wife's like, what the fuck, Todd? I did the tiny handwriting and you didn't get the goddamn tooth out and put the quarter under there?
I know. And when watching this episode, all that memory flooded back of when I dropped the ball as a parent. And
No. You're not the only one. I'm sure it's happened to many other people, okay?
so then we were like, oh, well, maybe it's the next night and she was just busy or whatever. So then I think the next night I left like triple whatever it was.
$60 under the pillow.
Yeah, here you go. Here's a check. I just left a check. Signed it the tooth fairy.
The tooth fairy uses mommy and daddy's bank account. Don't look too far into it. I wanted to talk a little bit about the tooth fairy here because it's something so ingrained in our culture, but not something I've ever really deeply thought about a whole lot. And to me, it's something very interesting because it's this tradition that we do, but it's not rooted in or masquerading as any sort of religious holiday, right? It's like based on this European folklore. I saw a 1984 study that said 74% of those surveyed believe the tooth fairy to be female, while 12% believe the tooth fairy to be neither male nor female, and 8% believed that the tooth fairy could be either male or female. And this is interesting to me, right? Because the tooth fairy, again, it's not coming from any sort of text or anything. It's just something that's like, we just kind of do. So the fact that there isn't even like a full consensus on like, is the tooth fairy a woman? Like, what even is the tooth fairy? We don't get too nitty gritty in the details, but we do like money for our teeth, Todd.
I know. It's like, look, we all just get bought off.
It teaches capitalism to children.
Is there 100% consensus on anything these days? No.
I guess that's a good point.
No. Do we get paid to not care? Yes. Here's Here's a
Look,
dollar.
As long as
under
that
your
dollar comes, I
pillow.
don't give a shit
Shut
what the Tooth
up.
Fairy's gender is.
Yeah, quit talking. Give me your tooth. Here's some money. Be quiet.
Yeah.
If there's young kids listening right now, we're just making all this stuff up about the Tooth Fairy. Tooth Fairy is totally real.
We're just mad because we don't have baby teeth anymore, and we don't get our
Yes.
dollars anymore, and we're frustrated about it. Don't listen to us. We're just cranky. So, Meatwad here, he's having a little trouble falling asleep. So, Shake tells him a story that comes accompanied with a tranquilizer dart. So, as soon as Meatwad passes out, a shadowy figure enters the room and immediately tranquilizes a sword-brandishing Master Shake. Turns out it's just Frylock. Frylock's coming in the room. Frylock is the Tooth Fairy for Meatwad here to give a quarter to Meatwad for this tooth. I want to mention, lots of props in this episode. Like the sword that Shake has isn't new. The headsets they have on isn't new. Meatwad's his blanket and stuff and the pillow I think are new, but lots of props in this episode, and we'll see backgrounds coming up as well. So it wasn't just you, Todd, working overtime on this one. It was also Bob Pettit drawing away to get ready for this one, I imagine.
It was always like a combo, like what is Pettit gonna do versus what am I gonna do? And it was I never really knew. I think that it was probably one of those things where they would give Pettit the list, he would do it, and then, oh yeah, by the way, I need this now. It's probably more of an add-on kind of thing or something where, especially if it's anything related to characters, then I would draw it. But sometimes it's a gray line.
Okay, I see. So did you notice any props in this episode that you drew?
The only ones that stood out to me, I don't think I painted like Photoshop painted any props for this episode. I think the only props were loose teeth
Gotcha.
that came out of characters.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it for this one.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But I had a lot of characters to do, so
yeah, you were
because it's
busy
not
on
just
this
the
one.
character, it's all their moves, all their mouths. Anytime they make it change their eyes, blinks, all that stuff. So it's not just one character; it's a whole set of things you got to do, and there's a bunch of them.
Yes, you've got that whole laundry list to work through. So in here, Frylock, he takes the tooth, drops a coin, only to be followed in by a real tooth-hungry, shadowy figure.
Tooth Fairy! Hand over all that change, man!
Dumbass, ain't no Tooth Fairy.
What do you think you're doing?
Whoa, well, I
Drop
just...
that tooth and back over to the wall.
Okay, just take the TV, take the quarter, take whatever you need.
Fools! I don't want your money! I have this tooth, and it's all I need.
Then who are you?
The creature from Plaque Lagoon. Please tell me you floss.
Sometime.
Liar!
So that sound is Frylock getting shot by a laser gun and passing out. So we had a familiar voice there, Todd. That is, any eagle-eared listeners might have picked up. Well, that's Wongburger, as we will find out as like the twist at the end of the episode. And here is a real bombshell for the Aqua Teen community, okay, Todd? Because online, IMDb, Wikipedia, Tommy Blacha is listed as Wongburger. And when I covered Dickisode a year or two ago, that's who I thought it was. But I was texting with Matt and Dave before getting on here to confirm it's actually Brendan Small doing Wongburger.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that.
Don't believe everything you read on the internet, kids, as I did and embarrassed myself. I'm wiping the egg off my face from the Dickisode episode. That is Brendan Small there. So usually Brendan Small is credited as Donald Cock on Aqua Teen. And I assume I talk about this on the podcast all the time because Aqua Teen at this point is not a union show. So any guys
Right.
in the screen, in SAG, they aren't supposed to be on this show. So they go by a fake name. So in this one, he's credited as Creature from Black Plaque as himself. That's what he's credited as, but I did confirm it is Brendan Small here doing that voice. And we talked all about Brendan I assume in Dickasode, I mean, at this time they're making Metalocalypse on Adult Swim. He was one of the creators of Home Movies, which was an original Adult Swim show back when Adult Swim launched.
Yep.
Excited to get that sorted out, because that's a real issue with this show, Todd, is because of like people not being credited sometimes. Like nobody knows who the hell is voicing anything sometimes. So it's something I try and address while doing the podcast here.
And that's related to kind of a question I'm going to have coming up. But we can talk about that later as we're going into the episode.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Frylock, he got shot with a laser gun, which is never really addressed later. We get a time lapse then from night to day, and the guys wake up, and their mouths are all fucked up. Their teeth have been destroyed here. So Shake calls a dentist, and it does not go well.
Oh my God!
Oh my God.
Oh my God! Look, I got a quarter! The tooth fairy came!
It's over! It's mine! Wait, can you complete us both in? No, we do not have dental insurance, which in my opinion is a complete record. No offense, but you dentists make enough money without having to hustle me with insurance.
No, Shake. Let me
I
talk to
can
him.
handle this, thank you. No, I do not have a major credit card. What I plan to do is to pay by offering my services as a gigolo to a dissatisfied housewife. Well, that's the last of them. The friggin' dental industry. Unbelievable. They're supposed to help people.
Shake says that he doesn't have insurance, but he'll pay for getting his teeth fixed by being a gigolo to dissatisfied housewives. So the guys are talking real funny in this episode because of their dental issues here, similar to the last episode, Chick Magnet, where in that one, the guys are all gentle and emotional with each other. They're talking differently in that one. Here, you can barely understand them almost, where their mouths are so messed up.
I hope that they recorded this with crap in their mouths. Like,
yeah, I have to wonder.
I hope that they put loose teeth in their mouth. Wouldn't that be funny? Okay, I want to go for realism here. I've got this pile of teeth.
Yeah, we went to the dental college.
Yes, I got this pile of teeth. Can you just shove this in your mouth? I will say, so when we were doing the designs for the mouth swelling, because
yeah, I wanted to ask about that.
I wanted it to feel, I wanted them to feel swollen and broken and rough. And so when I was a kid, I had my wisdom teeth out. Everything was fine. I was wrapped up. Well, my brother, his got really infected.
Oh, no.
That's exactly what those look like, is his cheeks went up like that, and he couldn't, like, his mouth was all kind of, now, minus the teeth were all shards in the episode, but
yes, yeah.
The swollenness and everything is actually from my brother when he got an infected mouth. Yeah. There was blood everywhere, all that kind of stuff. So I just remembered that in my mind. I remembered that.
Yeah, your brother, Todd. Sure, yeah, your brother was the one. Okay.
So it's like, it's like we were talking about earlier. You go by your memories and like, oh, this happened to me, and I know what happened here, and or I think this would be funny. So yeah, that's where that came from.
Yeah, I mean, I love the way that, I'm sure for your brother that was a horrible experience, but the way that you're able to take that horrible experience and turn it into entertainment and comedy, something that humanity can giggle at and laugh at, not at your brother's expense, but use that experience in a more positive way. I thank your brother for his service to the Aqua Teen community.
Yep, I laugh at my brother's expense all the time. Troy, if you're listening right now, yeah, I'm putting your stuff into this thing. Yeah. And future things too.
Yeah, you're not done yet. Troy, keep having those horrible experiences so that we can keep laughing, please. Humanity needs it now more than ever. But like, the fact that you designed the Aqua Teens with the bulging mouths, but then also in the episode, we'll see they won't have teeth later. So not only did you design some new characters on this one, but you had to go back and make a couple different versions of the Aqua Teens.
Then you have to do all their mouth shapes for when they're talking.
Yes, new
So
mouth shapes. Yeah.
Aqua Teen is basically 10 mouths. So, you got to do different mouth shapes, like, and you have to imagine what would those mouth shapes be, those 10 drawings. Now, granted, with the mouths being swollen and a little bit different, you imagine your mouth probably wouldn't have the same range. So I may not have done all 10. I may have okay, because usually you've got, the mouth shapes gradually getting bigger mouths open. So I don't think I would imagine I wouldn't have done that on this. So I would have just stuck with, instead of 3 different versions of open mouths to step it open, I would just probably do 2 and make them
Yes.
lighter or that kind of thing. So you're not just doing one design, you're doing 10 for each character.
Yeah,
Then,
it's
then they get their teeth removed, and then you do it all over again.
Gotta do it all again. And as any artist knows, doing mouth designs is the most fun part of the whole process.
No, not at all. Don't listen to Ryan.
We cut to Frylock's room, and the boys are on the computer. They're doing some research. They find the creature from Plaque Lagoon's website. Thank God he has a website.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got all sorts of information on it, but before you can get the info, you gotta watch that flash intro.
Creature from Plaque Lagoon.
No, look at that. We got him a website. Skip flash intro. It's creeping me out.
Gender is male. Occupation is tooth stealer.
Interests include disease, mouth bacteria, video games, just hanging out with friends, and finally completing a tooth ship to return to Tooth Planet.
Finally, tonight, I will have enough dicks to complete the dick ship and return to Dick Planet.
So there's a flashback to season 4, episode 4's Dickisode. And yeah, we could see here, if you couldn't tell by the voice, it's Wongburger, who purports to be the creature from Plaque Lagoon. It's the guy who broke in the previous night.
We need a Wongburger show.
Oh, yeah, I mean, geez. You could give him a new design every episode. He can take on the form of anything,
no. That would have to be a per season thing. That's a lot of work. Let's go per season. It plays out for a season, then it's a new story, and it's a whole nother Dr. Wongberg. And now he's a fish for the next episode.
I mean, this episode especially raises so many questions that, just by thinking about it a little bit, anybody could tell there's a whole backstory to this guy that we never get. We never really learn who Wongburger is. So you're very much right, Todd, where it would be nice to get to see more of what this guy is about, other than showing up to terrorize the Aqua Teens randomly.
A prequel, a backstory.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. But make it very serious. Make it it's a movie. It's a 2-hour movie. It's a drama, and we see what this guy is all about.
Wongburger is always playing it very, very straight-laced, and I think in the Dickisode he says, something about they crave dicks like we all do. It's like, wait, what? But he says it. His
Seriously.
voice is always so straight, and it's so funny that way.
Yeah.
That I think it would be awesome.
You're right. No, I never thought about that. The way he says and does these absurd, crazy things, but he does it all in earnest. Like he's like E.T. in a way. He just wants to go home, and sometimes he needs your dick to do that. Other times he needs your teeth. He's not trying to even be this bad menace to society. He's just trying to get home.
Nope. Yep. And he's very serious about it too.
Yeah, you're so right. I never thought about that before. Well, on his website here, we see some photos, because when we saw him earlier in the episode, it was just a shadowy figure. But here we see actual photos of what we're looking at, of a tooth-like creature in an overcoat, again, similar in shape to the creature in Meatwad's room. We also see some other another guy on this site, a red devil-looking dude with a giant mouth of chompers for a face and long black hair. We see 2 photos of them. One of them, they are fishing. The other one, they are drinking from a beer bong. And we'll talk more about these characters later. The website had a Flash intro. For anyone who doesn't know, at this time, when you'd go to a website, they might have like a fancy animation that you would have to watch before you could actually get to the website. Todd, what is your history with Flash? I know you've done some things with Flash before.
I have. I mean, I've made entire shows in Flash, and we've done a lot of things. Flash was kind of, it was right around this time when we started doing Squidbillies, and we were, doing that in Flash, and but we weren't incorporating that in Aqua Teen, and it's a whole different way to make shows. So
Right.
and it had a whole different look to it, and I do remember though starting to use Flash to do rough animations because it was a long process when you're doing it on paper because you'd have to photograph each individual drawing with we'd have a video camera and software, and you would photograph each one and you would time it out, like, okay, this is going to be on for 2 frames, this is going to be on for 3, this is going to be on for 2, that type of thing. And then if somebody talked to you and messed up, you'd have to start over again because you were timing the animation test. So it just got to be, it was super difficult. So then when Flash came along, I'm like, I can use this to do rough animations and send that, even though it wouldn't work for the finals. And then they would approve that. And then I would print them out. And then page by page, I would print them out, tape them on a piece of paper. And that saved me a ton of time. But, Flash has definitely evolved since then, now called Adobe Animate. And
Yes.
I never, ever messed with the programming or the coding or, doing it for the web or any of that kind of stuff. We strictly just used it for shows, and it worked. It wasn't made for that, but it did work.
Yeah.
And we ended up making like really in-depth shows with it.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of shows at this time
studios still
were
use
made
it.
in Flash. Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like the Aqua Teen episode Hypnogerm, I know you guys did the Hypnogerm segments in Flash. So we did see some Flash on Aqua Teen. But like you said, there was like the website aspect, the programming aspect. Like some websites would be made entirely in Flash.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
This was significant back at the time, especially the early 2000s, when you couldn't stream something in 1080p, for example. You could maybe do like, I don't know, 240p or something. Like stuff was really low res, but with Flash, it would render it on your machine. So people would do animations in Flash because you could watch that on like newgrounds.com, some people might be familiar with, to see like good quality animation online, which otherwise YouTube wasn't useful for, really, especially in the earlier 2000s.
Yep. 100%.
We had the Flash intro in the episode, and we saw chattering teeth in the intro, which is some rare foreshadowing for Aqua Teen, as we talked about at the beginning, Todd, where we will see Wongburger later open his overcoat to see some chattering teeth.
And I do think I did those teeth, the graphic of the teeth I think it's facing the screen, the little,
Yes.
I think I did those. I think I may have done those.
Okay.
I may have, yeah, because they were kind of Flash looking. So it looks familiar, but I don't, that was 20 years ago, so I don't remember exactly. But
yeah.
I'm just going to say, yes, I did them. I did it all.
You did everything. All the visuals in this episode are thanks to Todd Redner here.
Well, over the years too, there's a lot of people helping me too with these. Like,
Sure.
I sometimes I would be busy and I would have some people help me with a design or two or animate some stuff. Especially when episodes got kind of big and there was a lot. Marcula is one of those characters that I ended up not designing, but I directed them. That kind of thing. There's a lot of that kind of stuff. But, it was still within radical access. So anything 2D would go by me
right
at Radical there.
Yeah. I'd like to take a second to look at this website because we do get some information on it. Shake reads some of it, but there's a little bit more that is pretty funny. So on the Creature from Plaque Lagoon website, it says gender, male, occupation, tooth stealer. Interests include disease, mouth bacteria, and finally completing a tooth ship to return to Tooth Planet. Favorite movie is Footloose, and favorite food is tiramisu. And then we get a blog entry here, and I don't know who wrote this. It could have been Bob Pettit. Usually does these kinds of things, but it could have been any of the other compositing guys maybe at Radical Axis. Like, I don't really know who wrote this, but here's our blog entry. Hello everyone. Wow, it's been a while since I last posted, and there's lots to tell you about. Last Wednesday, some friends and I went to see this awesome band from Seattle called Hindersnout. 2 words. Awesome. Their guitar player sounds a bit like Pete from Snake Poodle Deluxe, but more on the edgy side. After many beers, we headed over to the pit to play some pool. Not many honeys there, so Andy said he knew of a good party. As we were leaving, we saw, no lie, the chick that plays Becky on Polterpest. You know, the hot one with the blonde hair. And then it cuts off. So here's his just like meandering blog post that is like the most mundane shit on this guy's website with the Flash intro. Like I said, we see them fishing, these 2 monster-looking guys. I'm sure you're excited about that, Todd.
Yes, I love that.
And maybe you're equally as excited about the beer bong. I'm not too sure about that.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to say about this site is we have a comment on it. Zagombo374 says, "Rock on, dude." That's somebody left a comment there.
That whole description sounds like the compositors to me.
That's what I'm thinking. That doesn't really sound like Bob to me a whole lot. It could be, but it doesn't really seem like Bob. Yeah.
Yeah.
On the site, we find out that Plaque Lagoon is in Vermont. Since the Aqua Teens are poor, they can't afford just to go there, which is what I love about this show. Like, I grew up poor, and that's probably why I responded to this show so much, is because they portray poorness in a somewhat realistic way, where it's like any other cartoon would be like, all right, let's go to Vermont. But the Aqua Teens can't do that. And also, especially in the early years, like, you guys couldn't draw all these new backgrounds. That's why they're just hanging out at the house most of the time, which was true to my experience. So they can't just go to Vermont. So Frylock decides to lure the creature to them. So we cut to Meatwad's room, where Meatwad is removing Shake's teeth with some pliers. So he's popping those out of his head, his rotten teeth. And again, like, lots of props this episode. We have some pliers. We have this new kind of tooth coming out of Shake's head, which I'm guessing you drew.
Possibly.
I feel like Meatwad's tooth, when it comes out, looks more like a Bob Pettit drawing, but these look more like your art style to me. So we have, different kinds of teeth in this episode.
I want to add, you talked about growing up poor. Were you so poor you didn't have a bathroom like the Aqua Teens?
We were blessed, okay? We were blessed with a functioning bathroom. I had the whole kit and caboodle, the toilet, the sink, the shower, Todd. The door even had a lock on it, okay? So I wasn't as destitute as the Aqua Teens.
Okay.
I don't mean to flaunt my wealth in front of everybody here.
Yeah.
It wasn't as bad, but we did have, like, the wood paneling on the walls. My bedroom had the wood paneling, so maybe I liked that about the show, too. It felt like home to me.
That's coming back, buddy. That's coming back. The wood paneling thing. Oh, I had the wood paneling growing up, too, and it was, I'm a little older than you, so it was actually, that was the cool thing. To have the wood paneling was the cool thing.
Oh, it's in style when you were around them. But by the time I was going to my friends' houses who had, like, white walls, and I'm like, where's your wood paneling at? What's wrong with your house? What's going on? You guys can't afford that?
You need to paint that paneling. Yeah.
Do you want me to glue some paneling on here while I'm here? I brought some. From home. You guys need it? I should say too, our door was normal shaped. It wasn't shaped like a milkshake too. Don't get any wrong ideas.
Well, I was assuming the door was shaped like you, just
yeah, my arms out.
Yeah, with your arms out. Every front door should be shaped like the people that live there, right? So if it's a milkshake, if it's a door, if it's a voluptuous woman, if it's a dog.
I'm gonna hang around her house. That silhouette looks sexy. Let me see who lives there.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going trick or treating at that house.
I bet she's got some candy. Well, Todd, Shake and Meatwad, they start going on and on about Bob Newhart, a comedian extraordinaire from my neck of the woods of northeastern Illinois. Todd, do you have any thoughts about Bob Newhart? Any history watching him?
Me and Bob, we go way, way back.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're on his show all the time, right?
No, I was impressed, that I found out that he was an accountant that
Really?
took up comedy.
Oh, okay.
He was an accountant that took up comedy, which is like, wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you need to Google that. But he was in like an accountant or something, and I don't know how he got into comedy, but his brand of comedy, you can kind of see it.
Mm.
That kind of dry wit that he plays. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, Bob Newhart, he was like really in this first wave of stand-up comics, like as we know it today, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, like he was an accountant. I'm seeing he was getting a business degree or something like that. It makes sense that they're like, oh, I'm just going to be a stand-up comedian, because that didn't exist at the time, right? Like these people had to come from
Right.
somewhere, right?
Yeah. And usually that kind of brain doesn't work with entertainment. That kind of brain is thinking, more mathematically, more engineer like, that kind of stuff. To have that kind of brain that does comedy is amazing.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Which no doubt influenced his kind of groundbreaking style at the time, like really deadpan humor, but also he would play with absurdism a lot. He would do these bits where he would play the straight man on like an absurdist phone call.
Yep.
And these are just kinds of things that no doubt had an influence on Aqua Teen. I mean, the fact that he kind of pioneered stand-up comedy, and then Aqua Teen goes on to have a bunch of stand-up comics as voice actors on the show.
Yep.
Is kind of no doubt there. Bob passing away in July of 2024 at the age of 94. So he was around for quite a while.
Right.
I don't think they ever got him on Aqua Teen, but
No. Well, Matt Malero he just pretends like he's Bob Newhart.
he channels him. Yes, of course. Any younger listeners might recognize Bob as Papa Elf in Will Ferrell's 2003 Christmas smasher Elf. And he was also Professor Photon in Big Bang Theory. So even though Bob was around, quite a while ago, he was in these more contemporary things that people will be familiar with. I mean, that's really where I know him from the most, would be in Elf, as Papa Elf. They get the teeth out of Shake's head, and as predicted, a shadowy figure comes into the room. But it's not the previous tooth snatcher, okay? It's Gary the Dairy Fairy, who is a pretty normal-looking dude with bleach blonde hair, high tube socks, and a violet fanny pack.
I got you, son of a bitch. What the? Who are you?
It's the Tooth Fairy, y'all!
Oh, I'm Gary the Dairy Fairy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I leave glasses of warm milk and cheeses and yogurt to help build strong bones and teeth. I'm more of a preventative, dietary fairy. Oh, nobody cares.
No, we were listening.
Gary, do you have any money? Give me your money!
Oh, well, here's some coins.
The balloons! Oh, beautiful, patina silver!
I'm made of cheese. They're designed to get kids excited about calcium, but all kids care about are video games where you steal cars and have sex with Russian prostitutes.
Hey, where's that stuff happening?
I have an idea for a video game where you floss twice daily to fight off gum depletion. In fact, it's not a game at all. It's called flossing!
Okay, well, it was really great to meet you, and I will catch up with you later.
Even Meatwad's out of there. He's like, this guy's boring. Like, all this guy really cares about is teeth. He's fit for this job, that's for certain. He really loves this stuff, Gary the Dairy Fairy.
Now, this is the character I wanted to talk about earlier.
Yeah.
And where my question is, because my memory for designing this character was, hey, Todd, we want you to draw this character. We want you to draw, it was like a celebrity chef.
Oh.
We want you to draw this celebrity chef. My memory might be fuzzy, but that's why the character looks like specifically somebody.
Okay.
And I want to, I'm not I don't watch Food Network at all, so I didn't know who it was or anything. But they, if I remember right, I want to say that they were like, "Hey, here's this character. You know, draw him in the show as Gary the Dairy Fairy."
Okay.
So
I'm trying to think who that would be.
I always assumed that he was still the voice, but I could be wrong on this. So I need to get fact checked.
Okay, so I can tell you, because this is going into this episode, I really thought that, again, it was Tommy Blacha doing Wongburger, so I expected this to be Brendan Small, but as I kept listening to it, I'm like, this sounds like Tommy Blacha, because he does some voices on Metalocalypse, and I really heard, like, anyone familiar with, like, William Murderface, he's not doing the same kind of voice like that he does for Murderface, but the way he would say words, I'm like, that sounds like Tommy, so that's why I really wanted to confirm with Matt and Dave, and yeah, so that would mean that this is Tommy Blacha doing Gary the Dairy Fairy.
Now, does he look like Tommy Blacha? Am I totally wrong on this?
I guess I don't know what he looked like at the time, but I would say no. I don't think he had that bleach blonde hair. Like, the only celebrity chef I can think of would be like Guy Fieri, but
no, it wasn't. It wasn't that.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like him.
And it could have been. I mean, I totally could change the color of the hair, and I probably added the faux hawk on there. I probably added all that, so it very well could be. Because obviously, whoever I drew it of had the glasses on and that kind of thing. So I just don't remember who it was that I had it in my head that it was a celebrity chef, but also that could have been another episode.
I'll send the image off to the guys, and I'll cut in here if we get a response in the future before this episode comes out. So. All right, so I reached out to Matt and Dave about this, and first Matt responded, and then Dave responded, I think this is Tommy. So Dave thinks that this is supposed to be a version of Tommy Blacha. Again, I don't really know what he looks like, especially around this time. So I do see that resemblance. My mind wouldn't have gone there, but also, like Todd was saying, maybe he changed some of the things on this design as well. Maybe that's why it doesn't completely resemble Tommy Blacha. But then after that, Matt responded, Tommy from the movie Tommy. So there we go. Maybe this is Tommy Blacha. I could see it. Gary notices the pile of rotten teeth on the ground. Turns out he knows the creature from Plaque Lagoon and will take the guys there to see him. So then we cut to a shopping complex, right? And they are outside of a Better Buy, which is obviously supposed to be Best Buy. Man, I loved Best Buy, okay? I used to get all my CDs there. Now all they sell is like refrigerators and TVs, I think. I don't even know what they're doing. I'm surprised they're still open, to be honest, but somehow they are.
Yeah, it's an appliance store now.
That's basically it, because anything else you'll just buy online. Maybe a refrigerator you'll want to see in person, but anything else is like, just order it. Gary goes on and on about how he kinda sorta knows the creature from Plaque Lagoon, who coincidentally just so happens to exit the Better Buy with a Samsung 50-inch TV. And it's the guy we saw in the pictures on the website, the red dude with the big mouth for a face.
Okay, we get it. He's a casual acquaintance.
Oh, it's more than casual. I mean, I've known him for a while, but it's not like I'm in love with him or,
It's a creature from the Plaque Lagoon.
Oh, hey. What are you doing here? Are you following me?
How's it going, man?
You don't look like much of a creature.
He is. Believe me.
Do you know how much those braces cost me?
I don't know what the you're talking about.
Well, does this refresh your memory?
Whoa.
Small taste of my anger.
Look, stop accusing. I don't know you.
I will also do that to your groin and then your face if you do not comply.
Shake, I don't think this is the guy.
Yes, I am the creature from Plaque Lagoon, okay? But someone stole my identity, has made a lot of dental-related purchases with my f***ing credit card. Just because that's my name doesn't mean that I'm into that. Now, I answered your question, now you help me. Open the van.
So, of course, that is the great John Schnepp. And anybody who's wondering why he sounds familiar, that's because he was on the show in season 2 as the dumbass Ahedratron.
I am the Wisdom Cube. This one time, 3 years ago, I broke my arm. I was informed improperly that my keys were in a throttling wood chipper. Alas, they were not. I shall never wear a cast again. The itching drove me to the brink of insanity. From now on, all my life.
All right, I'll fade that out there. The wisdom, or he turns out to be the dumbass Ahedratron. He likes to rattle on forever, but beyond lending his voice to the show, John Schnepp also provided the original 3D background art for the show, as seen in Rabot, before Bob Pettit redid everything.
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to ask, a listener of the show, Gabriel, wants to know if you've ever met Schnepp or have you ever worked with him?
I've never worked with him. I've met him. I have met him once or twice at, gatherings or parties or whatever. But I've never really talked to him or anything. But I will say that this character drives me insane
Why is that?
because this is one of those drawings that I wish I could take back because I was not happy with how this one came out. Like his face is so cool being just the teeth like that, but his body is off. It's off, it's short, it's stubby, and it's boring. And it was like got such a cool head that I really wish I did a better job with the rest of him that matched that.
Okay. I mean, I'll say, to me, it's funny that his body is pretty simple while his head is insane. Like, the juxtaposition between the two, it always kind of stood out to me by this character and did entertain me, but I do understand, like, your position on it. But for me as the viewer, it's great.
I mean, they wanted him to be simple. I remember that they wanted him to be, just in khaki shorts and whatever. But it's my drawing that is the part that's boring, not the character himself, but
Okay,
the proportions. The proportions are a little off, and I think I could have done a little bit better job. Maybe if I would have accentuated the head more. But then let me add this too. We were talking about doing mouths and how many mouths I had to draw for this episode was insane.
Yeah.
That character, his teeth, he's all teeth. So when you do a ooh sound, how do you do the ooh sound? Well, you can't you curl your lips. Well, he's all teeth. So I had to curl the teeth. So if you're watching it, when you're watching it, you can see the teeth actually curl when he's talking, and which is just cheating. Because otherwise, if it's just teeth going up and down, it would just be like bah, 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 bah.
Like chop 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 chop. Yeah,
exactly. So I curled the teeth and I just cheated it. I was like, screw this.
Let me pull this. I want to watch this real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really went above and beyond with this. I'm seeing the teeth are moving in like all sorts of kind of ways that are like, probably took a lot of time to figure out. Because like, that's like a thing that you had to invent. That's not a way that anybody actually talks.
Nope. You have to invent, like in animation too, when you're doing animation, you don't, a lot of times if you're animating something and you animate it correctly, like how it actually moves, then it looks really off. You have to kind of animate what you not what you see, but what the viewer thinks you see. So like if you're doing a really fast arm move, that they do a thing called breaking the joints. So it looks like you have a broken arm when it's really fast. And if you don't do that, it looks like the arm is going really slow. So when you're doing animation, you have to kind of know some of those rules of when to break the joints, when to squash and stretch, that kind of stuff. Now, this is not one of those kind of shows where there's a lot of that kind of animation, because of the way it's just made. But it does come up from time to time where you have to kind of do a make 'em up.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's so fascinating. I appreciate you sharing that. Like, we see that a lot in entertainment, I guess, like acting, for example. Like you think, oh, just act natural.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times, like real life is like weird and like not very entertaining or things like that. Like the way that a lot of great actors act is not realistic at all. And it's the same thing like you're saying with animation. Like if you do it realistically, then it looks off and weird and uncanny to people.
Yeah.
You have to do it. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Or boring. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, a lot of one of the issues that sometimes you get is when you're animating the characters on a more traditional show, not like this one, you know, because it is pieces and parts that are animating. But if you're animating a character for more traditional shows, sometimes you'll do the lip sync on the tail end versus sometimes you do it at the beginning, sometimes you do it at the end, depending on the show. And if you do it at the end, I've noticed that animators tend to over animate their arms and over exaggerate to make up for that. So there's a lot of arm movement, flailing, and expressions and that kind of stuff. And then sometimes it tends to be overdone, where then, you know, you're talking like Matt Malero when he's all doing this.
yeah.
Or, you know, you're talking. Yeah, I mean, you're just one of those more exaggerated people that talk with their hands like an Italian, you know, hey,
yeah, then
like
you're
this.
like Jim Carrey or
too
something.
Much.
Yeah.
Exactly. So people do tend to kind of overdo that if they're doing the lip sync on the tail end. So depending on the show, I like to kind of do it at the beginning because then it kind of pulls that back. But you want to do that on a little bit more limited show.
Yeah, so
like
it's like
this one.
This fine line that you kind of have to walk with this stuff.
Yeah, and that's, you know, for you know, not to bore everybody to death talking about this kind of stuff, but it's, you know, that's kind of what animation directors do, is like you kind of know when to pull, when to push, and like, you know, what are people's tendencies like that too. So, you know, it's things that you look for when you're making these things.
Yeah, a lot to chew on there, Todd. I appreciate you sharing all that. You can cut
any of this you want.
No, this is really
because I will ramble on all night long.
The Todd Redner Masterclass for Animation and Dick Drawings.
And let's cut it now. The end. There you go.
So hey, in that last clip, I know you didn't love the drawing.
No.
I liked it. I like that character. I love me some John Schnepp. We found out that someone has stolen the real creature from Plaque Lagoon's identity. Just because that's his name doesn't mean he's actually into teeth or plaque or anything like that, okay? From there, basically inexplicably, we cut to some sort of tower in the shape of a tooth made of teeth. We're out in a forest somewhere, and there is what I assume to be plaque everywhere. And inside is the Tooth Man that we saw earlier on Frylock's computer. He's on the phone making a purchase with a credit card, and the Aqua Teens ambush him.
6498 expires 1109. Yes, I am he. The creature from the Plaque Lagoon, yes. Overnight ship the molar engine at once so that I may complete the tooth ship and return to my enameled condo on Tooth Planet.
Wongburger.
Dr. Wongburger? But didn't he used to be...
A dick with balls of rage? Yes! For years, that's how people saw me. But I was actually a tooth trapped inside a shaft of a dick. Crime it out. It was a private shame. The years of painful surgery at great expense. I was able to change myself and become what God intended for me to be. Chatterman!
You're a madman, Wongburger.
Hey, I know that!
So, you think I could get my tooth back?
Yes, of course. Which one is yours?
This one?
No, me what?
So, this whole thing is crazy.
Wongburger has the best monologues ever.
He does.
He always has the best monologues, and I would have loved to be in there in the room when they were writing this, coming up with those monologues for Wongburger. Even in the Dickisode one. Oh my goodness, the monologues are the best.
You're right. I never thought about that in terms of like the Aqua Teen villains. I guess you could argue that like Dr. Weird has monologues because he never really cares what Steve says or does. But yeah, Wongburger's this character that goes on these long monologues, unlike most of the other characters, which
Mhm.
usually come in duos, so they talk to each other more, or they're just talking to the Aqua Teens. Wongburger just runs with it. He has a lot to say
Yeah.
at any given time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we learn that.
Wait, now he's going to an enamel planet now.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute. What about the other planet you
What
wanted
about
to go
Dick
to?
Planet? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and that goes back to what you said, where like he could have a whole backstory because it's like, what is happening? Like, where is he from?
Where's that show? Where's that show? Dr. Wongburger and Friends.
Well, you're right, because where did the Dick henchmen go from Dickisode? He had these two little
Yeah.
ball guys that were helping him out. Where are they at?
Yeah, they were rice. The rice. The
Yeah,
pieces of
the rice henchmen. Yeah. Where'd they go to? Also, how did he start a restaurant? Oh my God, there's so much that needs to be addressed. This is, I guess, pretty progressive. Okay, I guess Wongburger is a trans icon. He was a tooth born in a dick's body, and he's finally presenting the way he wants, which is as Chatterman. We hear he opens his trench coat and he has all these chattering teeth inside, which reminds me of the Chatterer Cenobite from Hellraiser. I have to wonder if that's a Malero thing. He might have come up with that idea.
I you know what? I'm pretty sure Malero did say, like, this is what I want. I'm pretty sure, knowing Matt, it's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he was like, hey, dude, Cinnabites right here.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing. Yeah. Cinnabon bites. How about that? That would have been awesome.
Cinnabon bites. I gotta send that to Matt. I'll tell him that I wrote it. I hope you don't mind about that. Hey, look what I just came up with.
No. Say Dr. Wongburger and Friends happy hour with Cinnabon bites.
Sponsored by. So, Todd, you talked about designing these characters like on paper when you came up with them. I have a question from listener Tyler Gaines, who wants to know if you think that cell animation will ever make a comeback given the rise of AI generated art.
No.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, it's cool. It's it's great that what's really great about it is with cell animation, you actually have then the actual art. Like you can hold it, you can frame it, you can sell it, you can do whatever. You have the actual art, but it takes so much longer to make and so much more money to make it that way when nowadays people can just sit in their homes on their iPads on their couch and animate a show. So no, there's the only way I could see anything like that happening again, in the traditional sense would be just for art pieces.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, of course, the AI generated part of that question is very, it's understandable why that would be brought up. But I mean, cell animation was phased out before AI art, just with the rise of digital art, because it's so expensive.
Exactly. Now, in AI art, I mean, it's going to be there too. It's going to be right there,
of
and
course.
it's getting there. It's not quite there yet with what people are able to do, and it's a bit of the Wild West trying to figure it out. But the cat's out of the bag, and that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, again, all this really comes down to a lot of the time is, I mean, we talked about it earlier, the financial aspect, and however companies can produce entertainment for the lowest amount of money is what they'll do, and obviously AI is the path towards that.
I mean, when you look at those traditional movies and shows, and there's a reason they send them overseas. There's a reason they get all these different studios and they break it up into pieces. It's because animation just takes so long to make and do when when 1 second, like we said earlier, 24 frames per second. When 1 second is 12 drawings, when you do it on twos, you can imagine how long that takes. And that's just to animate it. That's not to design it. That's not painting backgrounds. That's not, doing, lip sync. I mean, I guess it is, but it's so much more than that. Storyboards, all that kind of stuff that there's a reason why doing animated films take years and years with giant crews of people.
Yeah, I mean, I know like Studio Ghibli is maybe one of the last studios really working with hand-drawn art in that way. Even then, I don't know if their newest stuff is exactly cell animation. Like, I know that they use some computer-generated stuff, or I want to be careful. When I say computer-generated, I don't mean AI. I just, I mean working within the computer to animate with keyframes and stuff.
It's so much easier. I've worked with overseas studios. I've directed groups overseas, and out of the country and that kind of stuff. And when it's all electronic like that, it's so much easier for everybody too. So,
Right.
Because they can just they can instantly send it to you, and you can see, and give notes and that kind of stuff. It's not going to change anytime soon.
I mean, and I'm glad you said overseas, because even when everything was done by hand on cells, again, these companies are trying to save the most money possible. They would send it overseas to like Korea to be finished over there because it's a lot cheaper than doing it here, which is something that I love so much about Aqua Teen, not to get too patriotic here, but is that it was done, in the United States, which is not usual for most animated shows.
No, and it's basically just a handful of guys just trying to, have fun and make a show, and it was a riot to do too. So we were always laughing. When you have a job when you're laughing every day and doing crazy stuff and creative stuff, it's like you never want that to go away.
Yeah, we don't want to be sending all of our laughter to the Koreans while they're getting to make shows. We want to keep the laughter here in the United States. And when you use AI to make art, that computer's not laughing. It's never laughed a day in its life.
That's right. That's right.
And if we're not laughing, then what's the point of all of this, is my question. Well, maybe to make money for the corporations. So anyways, at the end of the Wongburger, dead name, Chatterman scene there, he goes by Chatterman now. Meatwad goes to get his tooth back, and, Wongburger seems to happily return it, but Frylock inexplicably tells Meatwad not to get the tooth. It makes zero sense, and I'm not sure why this is. I feel like a lot of the stuff at the end of this episode here, we're just kind of jumping between things happening, which, look, I understand this is Aqua Teen Hunger Force, but I can't help but feel like stuff was maybe cut for time here.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't, we're getting these long scenes that just kind of jump in between each other without much explanation.
This is a big episode, so I can definitely see that.
Yeah, that was really how I felt. Because Wongburger's like, here, your tooth is right here. And we see it on the ground. He's going to give it back to Meatwad. Frylock's like, no, Meatwad. And then we just cut to the Aqua Teen's house. We're in the living room. Their table is set up while Frylock and Meatwad eat baby food. Shake has another idea. He's got wings and a blender.
Applesauce is good. And that's why I'm going to have me one more container of applesauce.
Don't load up on applesauce.
It's for fruit.
You need some mashed carrots. You too, Shake.
I don't like carrots.
We got some butternut squash over here.
That's that baby goop, cause the master shall imbibe the wing of the buffalo tonight.
Imbibe? How the hell you gonna do that?
What's that?
You should take the bones out before you do that, Shake.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I'm making a man's meal.
A man's meal.
Does it get mild or hot?
Welcome!
Guess it's
I
hot.
think he went with the hot.
And that's the end of the episode. Is Shake is getting his mouth burned out by buffalo sauce. When I was a kid, I thought buffalo. I'm like, is that from? I knew buffalo was an animal. I'm like, are those from real buffalo? Like, it took me probably too long as a child to understand. No, these are just chicken wings.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled to see the guys eating what looks to be baby food. They're these little containers. I work in the baby department at Target, okay? So these hands have seen more baby food than you can imagine, Todd. And it's good to see my work reflected here, knowing that I'm stocking food for victims of tooth thievery.
Did Bob Pettit get it on model?
He did. Bob, you did great. You made me feel like I was on the clock looking at these pictures here. When Shake is guzzling down the spicy wing drink that he makes, we see all sorts of splattering from this. Like, there's particle effect going on, there's a splattering on his face, and I want to read an email from Aqua Teen compositor and animator Nate Cherney, because Nate sent me this email last year, and this is the perfect place to finally talk about this, because I was asking him about the blood on Aqua Teen, but even though we're dealing with buffalo sauce, it's the same exact system that you guys are using here. So Nate goes to talk about the blood in Aqua Teen, but again, same thing here, saying, I've got a few things that could be said about blood in Aqua Teen. Over the years, I played with different approaches for how we handled blood, and I came up with a few different methods. Breaking things down, there are two parts to a blood effect animation. The animated blood drops / spray, and the static splatter pattern it leaves after hitting something. And we see both of those things in this shot. Mm-hmm. For the animated bits, we had 3 methods. 1, create a particle system specific to the shot. 2, use a pre-rendered particle system we had created earlier. Or 3, pick one from our library of live action or CG elements. We would choose between them based on what we were trying to do, such as, is it a constant stream or a sudden explosion of blood? Mm-hmm. Is it a massive amount or just a spray? Something fun about the library of live action / CG elements that were purchased for use in the show is that we used many of the same libraries that other live action shows and movies use in their digital blood. For instance, blood hits in The Walking Dead. The reason I know this for a fact is because one of the blood splatter forms a very distinctive X pattern as it flies through the air. And I spot this particular splatter everywhere, all caps. Sometimes compositors will change up the speed or color some, but once you know what to look for, that stupid X pattern sticks out like a sore thumb. It kind of feels like a Wilhelm scream, but for compositors. So Nate then gives me a link to the X pattern he's talking about. A couple days later, he emails me like, hey, I just saw it in Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So I'll put a link to this in the description to this podcast episode. But, Nate does warn you that once you see it, you can't unsee it. And I do agree with him that it's a very distinctive pattern. And I think that we're kind of seeing it in this episode here with the wing juice on Shake's face. So one last little bit from Nate. He says, back to Aqua Teen specifically, for the static part of the blood pattern left from contacting something, we had similar options to the animated bits. Draw a blood puddle or pattern ourselves, or use a live action one from the library. So thank you to Nate Cherney, who has been interviewed on this podcast. I'll put a link to that episode in the description for this great rundown of how you guys would do these kinds of blood effects in Aqua Teen, which we certainly are seeing more like in this season and going forward than we did in previous seasons.
Yeah, Nate did a lot of Nate and Josh especially did a lot of a lot of that heavy lifting with putting the whole episode together. I would do drawings and I would do the different I would basically give them the different drawings for the animation and they would composite them together and then put them in here. And I know for a fact, they would write their own scripts for little things like Carl's walk or Shake's walk when he's walking, they would have a script written for that. So it was always the same, or Frylock's float.
Yeah, and when you say script, we should say not like a movie script, but like a computer script that would do certain actions every time. Yeah,
exactly. It would do certain actions in After Effects every time. So then it was just plug and play after a while.
Yeah. I mean, as we heard in the episode where I interviewed both of them, they worked very hard on this show to add these little details. Similarly, like you were talking about with the eyeball flying out of Meatwad's head, which, you certainly drew the eyeball and things, but maybe it was them actually plugging it into the computer and making it move. Yes.
They made it move. They flew it across the room. They did all that stuff. So yeah, no, those guys did amazing work. And the blood effects too, talking about blood effects and, how that runs. They would also combine them. It wasn't necessarily just those things. Sometimes it's like, well, I want a splatter, but I want the run too. So then you would layer things on top of each other and, turn things on and off. And if you had like a blood puddle, you would have, you would animate a ring going around it so it would reveal, so it felt like a puddle. Like,
Yes.
but you would combine all these things so that it felt a little, I want to say natural, but that's not true either. It just felt like Aqua
Yeah.
Teen, I guess.
I understand. I understand what you mean. Like, it's natural in a cartoon sense that, like, it doesn't at
Exactly.
least distract the viewer of like, what the fuck is going on over there? Yeah, it like
Yeah,
blends into
it's like,
everything.
there's a lot of little live action things that got put into, stolen and from libraries and put into Aqua Teen, and that, like the campfire, recorded blood. There was some other stuff that is recorded that would be of well, the explosions, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, like Jay Edwards talks about how the explosions were from like WCW or something like that. Like,
that's awesome.
yeah, this was like a wrestling thing. Yeah,
That last episode. So I'm going to talk about something that's not on this episode, but
yeah, sure, go ahead.
the last season, which is season 12. It had been so many years since we made the show. They could not, Warner Brothers could not track where that explosion came from. So they told us we were not allowed to use it.
Oh, okay.
So we had it. We had the original explosion. We had
Yeah.
it, but we could not use it. So we had to
Wow.
get one from another library that looked a lot like it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's fascinating. Yeah.
Right? It's like, look, we've been using it for 20 years.
Yeah, I know. It's like, why now? But I mean, the company's been bought and sold so many times. It makes sense they'd have different,
Exactly.
Wow. Yeah, and again, that's like a theme throughout this episode, Todd, is all of the work that went into the minutia here, and here you guys are trying to track down a similar looking explosion that you have the license to use.
Exactly. It's like, oh, okay, what libraries can we use? And then, talk about the things that take forever that people don't think about. Well, nobody's going to notice that, but we had to track down, and somebody spent, a day, maybe days, trying to find the right explosion to match the Aqua Teen explosion. That kind of thing. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I'll let you know, Todd. There's been some demand for season 12 commentary tracks. I might produce those, and of course, you'll be the first person I ask to join us on that. So,
great.
Anybody listening in, let me know if that's something that you would want to hear. But Todd, that is the creature from Plaque Lagoon, or I guess, Wongburger Part 2. What are some of your, thoughts on this episode as it pertains to being the second Wongburger episode?
More Wongburger. I wish he was in it more. He's really not in it very much.
He's not, right?
I just those monologues are gold, man. I love those. I'm serious. I want a Wongburger show. Make it happen.
That would be so entertaining. Yeah, please,
right?
Please, David Zaslav or whoever owns Warner now. We need it. We're begging for it. Actually, aren't they trying to sell Warner again or something? You and I should buy it, Todd. We'll do a GoFundMe.
Oh, I've heard.
We'll go buy it.
Oh, no, we don't need a GoFundMe. Here, hold on. Let me get my wallet out, and we'll just, here you go.
Yeah, I'll get my credit increased on my card here. I bet we could probably afford it with that.
Yeah, here, let me count the pennies real quick.
Well, Todd, thank you so much for joining us on this one. I mean, you were the first person I thought to ask about this one because of all, like, 3 new characters and then different forms of the main characters in this one. It's just a lot going on here visually.
Yeah, it's a big episode, and there's a few of these that they don't feel it a lot of times to the normal viewer. It's like, oh, it's just an episode of Aqua Teen, but most episodes of Aqua Teen, there might be one extra character or, in some other stuff. There's really not 3, 4 in such. So this was it was a big episode, and there was a lot. And I do remember this one taking quite a while to make.
I totally believe it because, yeah, not only do we get your characters, we have all these props, and we get, I think, 3 new backgrounds in this one too, which, for an Aqua Teen episode is quite the experience.
Yeah.
Like, this could have been a 22-minute episode, honestly. I kind of wish it was, so they could have explored more of what actually is happening here. But, in a sense, I guess it's funny too that we never really get any resolution to anything, and we just enjoy the ride, right?
Yeah.
Todd, what have you been working on these days that you can tell us about? I know last time we talked, you were talking about some Adult Swim shorts that you've been doing.
Yes, I'm wrapping up the Adult Swim shorts. There's a chance they might be airing fairly soon, and so when it does air, or I don't know, air or post or whatever, I don't know what they're going to do with it necessarily. I know they'll be on YouTube, but beyond that, I'm not. I don't know what's going to happen with it, but I do have the shorts. So when I do a lot of stuff on social media these days. I've been posting all like old commercials I've been working on or I've worked on in the past, clips from shows, behind the scenes Aqua Teen stuff, which I then tag you on a lot of it.
Yeah, you're keeping my Instagram page alive. I don't post anything anymore. So, it's because of you. I have stuff on there.
I'm telling you, like I'm doing all that. So then, when I do the shorts do come out, then, I'm going to post it up on there and, that kind of stuff. And like you said earlier, TikTok live, where, I'll just sit and we just talk about Aqua Teen and I answer questions, and it's that simple. And I've been doing some drawings too, and some new stuff that I'm putting up there. And, I do have some projects coming up in the future and different things, but I don't know if I can talk about any of that stuff yet. But there's lots of things in the future. Let's just put it that way.
Hell yeah. Well, you are on Instagram at Todd Red Art and on TikTok as Cartooniac, and I will link both of these in the description of this podcast episode. Everyone, go give Todd a follow. He's posting all sorts of great stuff. I mean, you've been posting some videos, Todd, some Aqua Teen videos that have been going bonkers. They've been going gangbusters.
Yeah, I'm shocked.
You're destroying social media with your posts right now. It's incredible.
I don't know why, but there's this one I posted to Johnny Bravo that's gotten 450,000 views.
Jeez.
I'm like, what in the world? What in the world do they?
People remember Johnny Bravo? What the hell's happening?
It's a weird little Johnny Bravo 15-second spot I did for Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, that got a lot of views, but I never know. I'm new to social media, so I'm just having fun posting. I've got hard drives full of content, so I'm like, why don't I just share this with people? So
yeah,
I try to post something every day.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I love seeing it. Like, Todd, you'll post a lot of the I guess just concept art in a way from Aqua Teen. Like, a lot of the times if Matt and Dave wanted something, they'd say, give me this. And then you would give them a couple versions of what they asked for, and then they would pick. And so now you are posting those different versions. So we could see
the different versions. Yeah.
Right. So like shaking 2 different shirts, like, oh, which shirt would you have picked if you were, okaying this stuff? It's a lot of fun to get this behind the scenes look, and Aqua Teen fans are lucky that you are doing this, because when I started this podcast over 4 years ago, there was nothing like this being posted. So it's very exciting to see this behind the scenes look.
It's fun to share it. It's just been sitting on my hard drive, so it's fun to share and talk about. And I just hope that it generates so much interest that Warner Brothers says, "Let's do it. Let's make more Aqua Teen.
Let's make more Wongburger show."
Yes.
Do you suspect you have any concept art from this episode that you could find?
I kind of poked around a little bit. There's a chance I might have something. I know I have some like animation tests. The problem with the animation tests is they're on paper. They're really dark, really hard to see. And I have to convert them. I have to actually go and get a very old computer because they won't even work on newer computers.
Right. Yeah.
And then I have to re-render it, and it's tough. But I know I have some of that stuff, but it's like I said, it's hard to see.
Yes. Yeah.
When you're doing stuff on the paper and you do it in layers, it gets a little dark.
Sure, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. I do want to mention you're also posting your own little series called Ask Oz from time to time.
Yes.
If anybody would like to see some original Todd Redner, cartoons here, it's also being posted, and they're very fun as well.
Yep, it's just a fun little thing. I can knock them out in a morning where it's just a little one-off joke that's very fun to do, and I hope to do more of those too in the future.
Yeah, I'll link one of those in the description too. Anybody listening should check these out. Again, they're fun and they're not demanding on your time. You're not asking 11 minutes like an Aqua Teen episode. Who has 11 minutes to spare these days? But these are what,
I know,
20, 30 seconds?
20.
Shoot.
Yep, exactly.
All right, thank you so much for joining us, Todd. This has been such a blast.
This is great, Ronnie. Anytime, and let's do this again tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. I'll see you then. There he is, the wonderful Todd Redner. I appreciate the way that Todd shared with us that he wasn't happy with the creature from Plaque Lagoon drawing. Again, it's a little confusing with the naming on this one. This being the red dude with the teeth for the face, who got his identity stolen. That's ultimately what this is all about. Look, I appreciate that Todd was honest with us about that, because you could see that, he'd been working on Aqua Teen for 7 years at this point, in 2009, I guess 2008 when they made it. And even then, he's still running into issues where it's like, oh, I'm not quite happy with this. And not for any other reason than just to know for any creative folks listening out there, and I have to assume that's most of who's sticking around on this one, since we got so into the details, that, hey, not everybody can knock it out of the park every single time. That's okay, because, like I said, for me as the viewer, I didn't notice the guy's body. I was staring at his weird fucking face. I mean, come on. I didn't appreciate how big of an episode this was until covering it on the podcast, just with how much was going on. Like I said, it's kind of a slow burn at the beginning. Up until the end, they're trying to cram all this stuff in to the fact that there is no Carl, for example. They normally try and use Carl, and I think it's just a matter of, there was already so much going on here, they couldn't even fit Carl into this one. He was in Dickisode, the first Wongburger episode, so it makes sense for him to show up here, but yeah, he doesn't, because there's not enough time. There wasn't even enough time to really explain what was happening at the end. Again, why didn't Frylock let Meatwad take his tooth? Am I missing something here? Reach out and let me know. You can reach out at dancingisforbidden.com or email me, hello@dancingisforbidden.com, and tell me how I'm wrong here and how they explained it, but I can't seem to understand what exactly happened with that. One thing I want to mention to you is the credits on this one. I know I came in Mr. fucking Hot Shot, all confident. Oh yeah, I reached out to Matt and Dave, and they said it's Brendan Small as Wongburger. I still don't entirely know, okay? Because at the same time I was reaching out to Matt and Dave, I was reaching out to J. Wade Edwards, who, like I said in the conversation with Todd, Jay edited on Dickisode, and Jay responded saying, well, I don't quite remember, but being the stand-up guy that Jay is, he went digging back in his emails and found an email from 2006 where Aqua Teen superfan John Galbo, who ran an Aqua Teen fan site at the time, was emailing Jay after Dickisode aired, asking who was voicing who, and in that email from 2006, Jay says that it's Tommy Blacha. So now here in 2025, Jay says that his instinct is to trust the email, which is not clouded by time. This is right after the episode aired. But Jay says he wasn't in the room when they recorded it. So I don't know still. We have another Wongburger episode coming up, which is Hands on a Hamburger, which I think is next season in season 7. So hopefully by then, I can get you a concrete answer. It's such a pain in the butt, but it's these kind of wild goose chases that are kind of annoying when covering this show, but also a little bit fun too. It's fun trying to get to the bottom of these very important issues, okay? These are the things that matter in life. Who voiced a talking dick on a cartoon? Maybe one day we will know. Actually, Brendan Small, from what Matt Malero has told me, has agreed to come on Meat Kingdom, which is the YouTube show that Matt Malero does that I am a co-host on. You could find that at meatkingdom.net. Brendan says that he'll come on. We haven't scheduled it. I don't know when that will happen, but hopefully if that does happen, it happens before the Hands on a Hamburger episode so I can ask him directly. Did you voice Wongburger in these episodes? And speaking of Meat Kingdom, our most recent episode was with Craig Harton, who you might recognize as a Day One Aqua Teen guy. Craig was like the animation head honcho on Aqua Teen. I've interviewed him on the podcast before, but we had Craig on Meat Kingdom. That is Matt's show where he cooks stuff and we joke around. Craig was there in person because they're all in Atlanta. It's Matt, Craig, and then John Breston, who, he was on the podcast a couple episodes ago. They were all hanging out. I patched in. We talked a bit about Aqua Teen. Those guys, I'll say it, they were a little deep in the cups, okay? They were drinking some adult beverages previous to my connecting, so it was kind of nice for me, because anything I said they were laughing at. I felt like fucking Jerry Seinfeld on that Zoom call, so check that out. That is meatkingdom.net, and as always, links to everything in the description to this podcast episode. We very briefly actually talk about John Schnepp a little bit, who we heard as the creature from Plaque Lagoon in this Aqua Teen episode. I want to let you know, like I mentioned last time in Chick Magnet with Dana Snyder, that we are taking your, life questions for Master Shake still. Dana Snyder will answer these questions, give you advice as Master Shake in character in a future podcast episode. So if you've got anything going on in your life that you need help with, and specifically you need a Talking Milkshake's help with, now is your chance to get it. Again, dancingisforbidden.com. You can contact me there, or just shoot me an email, hello@dancingisforbidden.com, and Dana and I will record this episode at some point here coming up. And again, these are questions about your life. These are not questions just for Master Shake, like, hey Shake, what's your favorite music? It's not that kind of thing. It's not questions about Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Think of this as like a Dear Abby column, if you know what that is. I guess that's maybe a dated reference even for me, but it's self-help. That's what we're doing here, helping you with your life questions from Master Shake. So to give you an update on the cartoon I am working on with Matt Malero called Those Cats. Sadly, not a whole lot to report in this month. I haven't had a whole lot of time to work on that. I will have time soon coming up, making some changes to things going on in my life to give me more time to work on that. So it's not like hopefully I'm not going to be saying that next month. But, I cleaned up the project file a little bit. You want to hear about that? That's exciting stuff. But you could find our website, thosecats.org, to keep updated with that. I haven't updated it in the past couple weeks, but there's a couple fun drawings up there. And also, I added a guest book, which is from the internet days of yore, where people could leave comments on a website. I've got that for Those Cats. Didn't tell anybody about it. Just threw it up there, see if anyone would see it. And we already have 3 comments on it within like the first couple weeks of it being up, which is really exciting. I appreciate everybody who's left a comment over there. It's nice to know that people are excited about this upcoming cartoon that we're doing together. It'll be pretty cool. I hope that you'll like it. I'm probably going to add a fan art section to the site. So, hey, if you're working on some fan art, man, pass it along. You know the details. I've said it like twice already. Something else you can also do, you know it. We do it in like every episode. You can reach out to me on the website. You could send me a text message that I can read on the podcast, or you could send in a voice message, just like D3PO did. Let's hear what he's got to say.
Hey, Ronnie, D3PO from the Patreon. Just want to let you know real quick, I love your podcast. Keep up the good work. Keep fighting the good fight. You help me from going bored at my job, and you literally keep me entertained. So cheers to you, man. And I listen to your episodes from years ago, and I'm just crazy because I'll comment on them. I'm like, wait, this is from 2022. Damn, he's been at this for a while. So damn, man, cheers to you, man. You've been you're doing God's work. Keep it up. Anyways, how I found out about Aqua Teen was with my twin brother. When we were young, we walked in on an older brother, watching it. He was just having a good time, laughing. But you know how when you're a kid, you don't understand any adult jokes or what's going on or anything. But now that I'm older, me and my twin brother, we'll like rewatch episodes and stuff, and we'll like still catch like new things that we haven't caught the first time, like watching and listening to it. Like I'll see Meatwad say something that will just make me like giggle, and my brothers giggle like little schoolgirls, and like it's just a funny show all around. Thank you, Matt and Dave Willis. Thank you guys. And if anyone wanted to subscribe to this Patreon, do it, man. Just do it. Support the boy Ronnie. He's the number one in the hood, G. You know what I'm saying? This podcast wouldn't have been brought to viewers like you. Thank you.
Hell yeah, D3PO. Move over, Shia LaBeouf. We have a new Just Do It on the horizon here. No, I appreciate you saying that. Of course, I couldn't do this podcast without people supporting it, just the amount of time it takes. Now, I love doing it. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm not making bank off of doing the podcast, but it's easier to justify making this show when there's people who are supporting it. So thank you for letting people know there. Of course, anybody who supports it, you get a backlog of episodes over there. In fact, I just put up a Beavis and Butthead 2-episode deep dive that I did with my buddy Rob over there. But you also get to ask questions to the guys when they come on the show. I mean, that's how, you heard Gabriel and Tyler, they've been asking questions. If you want to ask questions to the guys from Aqua Teen, that is your way in, I suppose. But to address everything else that D3PO said, first of all, I say it all the time. I love that you're listening at work. Thank you for letting me know that. That's where I listen to all my podcasts, and it's just so meaningful that I'm able to put something else out there that other people can enjoy in the same way that I enjoy all the podcasts that I listen to. But D3PO is surprised I've been at this for a while. Yeah, it's been over 4 years, and we're not getting any younger, I'll tell you that much. And it'll probably, be many more years now that we're down to one episode a month. But I love this Aqua Teen origin story of walking in on your older brother who was watching Aqua Teen. And geez, I mean, I didn't know where this story was going. You walked in on your older brother. I mean, I didn't think it'd be a good thing that you saw. Maybe there were some bad examples of that you've had, but I guess not this time, because you guys discovered, you and your twin discovered this awesome show. And you touch on how, despite watching the show over and over again, like at first you were a kid and didn't quite get it, which I totally understand, right? When I was watching this show in 2005, 2006, when I was like 11 years old, I wasn't getting a lot of these references, and that's been such a joy of doing the podcast, is fully understanding the show, but also the fact that, kind of like you were touching on, that the show holds up. Like, so many things from my childhood I don't really respond to anymore. Like, when I was this age watching Aqua Teen, I was huge into My Chemical Romance. Like, their 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge album was my favorite album, and I was just listening to that today. And I'm like, yeah, I like this. I feel nostalgic for it, but it's not something I want to listen to, But that's not the case with Aqua Teen, because as an adult, seeing it as an adult, it's even better than I remembered it being. So it's one of those rare wins in life in this way, because so many of the things I adored as a younger fella don't hold up for me now in those ways. But yeah, you're talking about how you can watch it over and over again and catch these things that you never noticed before. And we heard about that today with Todd, right? All these guys who were working on this show, and like the email I read from Nate too, they really tried to pack in as much as they possibly could with the time that they had to do it. And that's why I think so many of us love this show so much, because it was made with love. Todd said they were all just laughing and trying to make each other laugh and doing it for this pure reason. And it still shows all of these years later. So D3PO, thank you for this message. I want to come to D3PO's defense on this one. The reason he was talking so fast is because you only have a 90-second limit to submit a message, so that's why he was like, shit, I gotta fit all this in, okay? I don't think he's normally a speed talker, like I unfortunately am, but I appreciate you taking the time to send this message. I know that it took you a little bit of work to get everything you wanted to say into one. Look, I don't recommend it, okay? I don't want people sending in 5 minutes worth of messages, but it's okay to send in 2 separate messages, people. That's all right. But thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for listening to this show. I'm glad that you are enjoying spending your time listening to this. That means a lot to me. I really, really appreciated this message. But if you would like to send in your own voice message like D3PO, you can do that by heading on over to dancingisforbidden.com. There's like a button there you can press to leave a voice message. Or again, you can just email me if you don't want your voice to be on the podcast, because by sending in your voice, I actually am using it to train my own AI data set of generative voice AI that just tells me how great I am. So I'm going to be listening to that tonight while I fall asleep. So thank you very much. So thank you for listening to yet another episode of Dancing is Forbidden, yet another foray into the world of Aqua Teen. Again, thank you to our guest, Todd Redner. Links to where you can find him in the description to this podcast episode. Kind of touched on it, but thank you to everybody supporting this podcast over at dancingisforbidden.com/support. It's because of you guys that we are still trucking along on this thing after 4 years. I want to shout out Luz, who signed up to support this show back in May of 2024. Luz was a $10 supporter for over a year and a half on this thing, so I very much appreciate you. I also want to shout out Aaron B., who signed up a day later at the $10 tier, and Aaron was on there for a couple months. So thank you, Aaron, for supporting in the past. If you're even still listening, I don't know what's going on with people's lives. Or maybe Aaron didn't actually sign up. Maybe somebody stole their identity and did it. We learned about that in this Aqua Teen episode. Otherwise, if you want to help out this show, but you can't afford to do it financially, look, I get it, man. These prices, they're not fucking going down, I'll tell you that much. But if you'd like to support the show without cold hard cash, just share the show. Just make a post on Reddit. Make a post on Facebook. Make a post on your local, what is that neighborhood website? Nextdoor. Make a post on Nextdoor about the podcast. I'm sure that your racist neighbors will love it. And you know I gotta thank our Highlander, Robison.
There can be only one!
Meatwad only has one tooth that he lost, just like there's only one Robison. And if his tooth was a Highlander, he wouldn't have lost it. It still would have been around. And I gotta thank our number one in the Hood G tier supporters, Ian, Captain Buford, Nick, Jason, Swimwiki, Lervinator, Jonathan, UK No Tamashi, and Tyler. You guys can eat the baby food that I defect out at Target any day of the week. I'll see you next month, which, oh my goodness, is next year, 2026, the first Monday of 2026. I'll be seeing you. I want to say real quick that I hope you had a great year. I know that a little light on the podcast side, but hey, we're still around. We're still doing it, and looking forward to what we get up to next year. Hope you had a great year this year, and I hope you start this next one off strong. And I'll be there waiting for you with Season 6, Episode 6, Time Machine. I don't know who I want to ask to be on that one yet. I have a couple ideas, so you'll see who it is when we get to it. Till then, keep it cool, take it easy. Bye-bye.